everyone, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, I follow a high-carb, low-fat, plant-based diet. So for today's breakfast, I'm having a peanut butter and banana starchy smoothie. Okay, so your first guess or fear might be, why am I showing you beans when I'm talking about a smoothie? Well, you're just gonna have to trust me and try me on this one, and I promise you won't regret it. So along with the beans, you're going to need about 1.5 frozen bananas. And don't worry guys, all the ingredients and recipe will be posted below in my description box. So next we're going to be needing some pure vanilla extract, and then we'll be adding some PB&Me, which is a powdered peanut butter. If you guys haven't heard about this, then you have now, and it is a game changer. If you love peanut butter, then you are going to love this. Basically, they remove most of the fat from regular peanut butter, which results in a powder. And then to replace the fat, you're just going to add water. And honestly, it tastes so close to regular peanut butter, it's absolutely delicious. And lastly, we'll be using 1 cup of unsweetened vanilla almond milk or any other plant-based milk of your choice. Unlike regular smoothies, this one is not jam-packed with fruit, and because of the fiber in the beans, it actually keeps me full for hours. So we are going to start by throwing in our frozen banana and our 1 cup of milk. As a beginner smoothie, I would start by using 1/4 cup of the white beans, and then work your way up to using 1/2 cup of the beans. You'll be getting more protein, more fiber, and it will keep you fuller longer. Next, we'll be adding in our vanilla extract, and for those of you who have been following me, you know how much I love my vanilla flavor. This really brings the smoothie together. And lastly, we'll be adding our 2 tablespoons of the powdered peanut butter. You will be surprised at how much it tastes like you added regular peanut butter to this smoothie with only a fraction of the fat. All right, time to blend it up. That's what it looks like once it's been blended, and it actually yields quite a large amount. This smoothie is so delicious. I actually make it several times a week for my kids, and they have no idea that there are any beans in it at all. I am not the biggest bean lover, but I wish I was because of the nutritional profile of beans, so I find that this is such an excellent way to get those beans in without feeling like I'm forcing myself to. It is delicious. Alright guys, so for lunch, I'm just keeping it simple and having a soup and sandwich. A lot of you have probably heard about avocado toast, but do not underestimate how delicious oil-free hummus toast is. Sometimes I eat it just like that, but today I'm building on it to make a sandwich. I will put a link for my super simple oil-free hummus recipe in my description box below. Okay, so let's make this sandwich, and as always, there's no hard rules with any of my recipes. I'm just using some of my favorite things that I like to go on a sandwich, but of course, feel free to use whatever you like. I always like to sneak in some fresh beetroot whenever I can, but as you can see, watch the hands as they do stain pretty badly. So here, I'm just using some shredded beetroot that I use just with a regular cheese grater to top off my sandwich. And that's it, super simple, a beautiful oil-free, low-fat sandwich. For those of you who have seen my last few videos, then you know that I'm starting to preload with soups before my meals. If you are looking to speed up your weight loss a little and you'd like to learn more about preloading, then I will be sure to post the link in my description box below so you can check that video out. Oh, and as a side note, I could only finish about 1.25 of that sandwich because of my preload. Okay, so for dinner tonight, I'm making enough for both myself and my children. This here is a favorite around this house. It is a smoky fried tofu. So all you need is any type of firm or extra firm tofu, and then cut it into slices that are approximately 1/4 to 1/2 inch thick. The real magic behind this recipe is to marinate it. As most of you might know, tofu will really absorb any flavor that you give it. So the longer you can marinate it, the better. So now I'm going to throw together my very easy barbecue sauce, and again, don't worry, the recipe will be posted in the description box below. So to make it, you're going to start by using 1 cup of ketchup, and then you will be adding 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. And then next, we will be adding 1 teaspoon of liquid smoke, along with 1/2 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. And lastly, I will be adding 1 teaspoon of granulated garlic, or you could actually use fresh garlic if you don't have any of this on hand. And that's it. Give it all a really good stir and you have yourself some delicious smoky barbecue sauce. This recipe yields quite a large amount, so expect to have some left over, but it's so delicious it could be used in many more ways than one. So as for marinating it, basically you just want to make sure that all the tofu pieces are generously covered on both sides. Now this barbecue sauce is a sweet, smoky sauce, so if you're watching your sugar, then of course you can just adjust the amount of sauce that you want to go on your tofu. Now that the tofu is covered, I'm going to place it in the fridge for about 3 hours to marinate in there. Again, the longer you can marinate it, the better the flavor. Okay, so most of you are very familiar with water frying or air frying with this particular way of eating. Well, let me tell you, this is something you should be adding to that list. All I'm doing is adding a sheet of parchment paper in my frying pan, and that is how I'm going to be frying this tofu. Now, as much as I love my air fryer, let's face it, we can't use it for everything. So using the parchment paper really makes a big difference, just so that you don't lose any of the flavor by constantly having to add water to your food. This oil-free method of cooking can certainly be tried with other pan-fried foods as well. So as you can see, there is quite a bit of barbecue sauce left over, but don't put it away quite yet, as you may need it to glaze over the tofu 1 or 2 more times as it cooks. When it comes to tofu being done, it really boils down to a matter of preference as far as texture goes. Some people don't mind a soft tofu texture, while others prefer it a little bit on the crispier side. So with that being said, the cooking time is really going to vary. For myself, I cook this tofu for about 15 minutes on medium heat, turning them about 2 to 3 times. But again, that is not a hard rule, so if you'd like your tofu to be a little bit darker or a little bit crispier, then just extend the cooking time. So this was about how brown I wanted my tofu to be, so it was almost done, so I just topped it off with one final glaze of the barbecue sauce. This tofu is truly delicious and certainly not something I eat every day, but is a nice treat to share with my family every once in a while. Alright, so again, here is my soup that I will be preloading with, and just so you guys know, I will be putting out a video very soon with the recipe for that exact soup, so do stay tuned. As for the rest of my dinner, I always try to get in extra greens where I can, so I will be having my fried tofu on a bed of mixed greens. Can I just tell you that this tofu was literally cooked to perfection? It was so good. So because I probably could have eaten a ton more of the tofu, I wanted to bulk up my meal with non-starchy veggies. So here, this is just some steamed cauliflower and broccoli I'm having on the side. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and voila, dinner is served. It never ceases to amaze me all the amazing food we get to eat in a high-carb, low-fat, plant-based lifestyle. But before I get to dig into that beautiful plate of food, off with my soup I go. Okay, so most of you who know me know that at nighttime is when my sweet cravings hit the hardest, so I usually always try to have some kind of plan for something to satisfy my sweet tooth. So tonight I'll be having a very simple chocolate pudding made with sweet potato, cocoa, and a banana. So to make this recipe, you only need about a half to a medium-sized cooked sweet potato. You want to remove all the peeling from the potato and then simply throw it in your blender. Next, we're going to be using a whole banana. The riper, the better, and you can just add that to the blender too. And lastly, we're going to be using any type of unsweetened cocoa powder. We're going to be adding 2 tablespoons to the blender, but of course, again, no hard rules. You can adjust that to your own liking and add a little more or a little less. And that's it. It doesn't get easier than that, right? All you have to do is blend those 3 things together and you have yourself some healthy plant-based chocolate pudding. One thing worth mentioning is that you do not need to add any type of liquid to blend this. And if this version isn't sweet enough for you, feel free to add a little bit of maple syrup, a date or 2, or even some vanilla extract. This chocolate pudding is best served cold, so in the fridge it goes. So after about 2 hours in the fridge, it was cold enough to eat. And for those of you who are really impatient, then just pop it in the freezer for about an hour or so and you will be good to go. And that's all there is to it. I hope you enjoy. If you're new to my channel and you're looking for more meal or recipe inspiration, then be sure to check out my other What I Eat in a Day videos as long as my recipes. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We will see you in the next one.